Okay, I'm here, the biggest League of Legends expert in the world. I'm here to tell you the top teams going into Worlds 2025. I'm currently on CFO, the LCP team. I work as team operations, co-streamer, yada, all that shit. So, besides that, everything else, I should be partially unbiased. We'll start from worst to best. So here we have the 17 teams. I'll include IG, even though I think IG is going to lose 0-3. Might as well include him. But first team that sucks will be 100 Thieves. I watched every region. I watched LTA North the least. But probably most I watched is LCP, then LCK, LPL, into LEC, and then LTA South. And then LTA North, I probably watched like a few series and playoffs here and there, but for the most part, I didn't really watch. But 100 Thieves did not really impress me. They look really bad. I mean, NA doesn't look like a really strong region right now. A lot of teams are choking. Playoffs, 100 Thieves just looked like they had a really high floor, but a low ceiling. So I expect them to go 0-3. This is one of the teams I expect to go 0-3 in here. Next up, I'm sad to say, but I'm going to have to put VKS, Viva Keed, in last place as well. I think they're also going to go 0-3. I think LTA South kind of improved in Split 2. I thought Furia did really well. You know, Pain Gaming, yeah, they had like 3 Koreans. They looked mechanically strong, but they weren't coordinated as a team. But then everything kind of fell apart. Loud changed their roster. They're still new. Furia imploded during the season. Red had a bunch of rookies. It's like, I think next year, LTA South will be much better. But I feel like for Split 3, because VOK just upgraded their mid to like getting a really good Korean mid laner, it just didn't feel like the overall team level was that high. Kind of felt like they kind of got to go to the finals because of the fact that other teams had less experience than they did and less coordination. But I do think that bringing up Smiley and improving the coaching staff was huge. Their BP looks so much better, so there is a possibility that they could probably beat one of the teams down here, but I don't think they'll beat anyone above them. Another team I'm going to have to put down here, unfortunately, is going to be PSG. Yeah, I have 3 teams down here, but whatever. It's one of these teams will go 1-3, but 2 of them will go... I think 2 of these 3 teams will go 0-3. I think PSG had a really rough start. They had a really strong mid laner in Fofo, but he and their jungler Karsa could not coordinate at all. They had a lot of synergy issues, so that's why they brought back Maple, who was retired. And the famous 0-8 was mostly because Maple was just a really bad mid laner. Like, he was probably like one of the worst mid laners in the league at the start of the year. But as he started leveling up, you got to see Karsa level up along with the synergy. They got to pick more synergistic champions. Like, famously, their Tilia Vi combo was really bad, but now with Maple and Karsa, it was getting really good. I do think that Betty hasn't shown that like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 level carry performance in a while. So that might be a little bit scary. I think their top laner and support has been struggling throughout the year, and their real strength is mid jungle being consistent. They're able to have synergy, and hopefully if Betty levels up, he can cause some upsets. Next on my list, I'm sorry to say, but Fnatic, I don't have faith in them. I do think Poby is a downgrade from Humanoid. The only thing is that Humanoid and Razork had 0 chemistry, 0 synergy. They looked, you know, one would do well while the other would do bad. You know, one would make a play and the other would retreat, or like, you know, there would be so many issues around objectives with this duo that with Poby, does not seem like a factor. Like, Razork does look like he's a little bit better with Poby, but Poby, I feel like overall as a like individual player for the Humanoid is worse. So I'm gonna have to put them down there. It's crazy that they beat KC, but I think that's more of KC imploding than what's his face doing well.
So why not build an app
Oh my god, I got an ad.
This finance app.
My bad. Anyways, let's continue on. This is already scuffed. Hey, biggest League of Legends expert. Can't have it perfect. All right, Secret Whales. Secret Whales has a very, very young lineup. Very, very young. Their mid and jungle is very young. They struggled a lot throughout the year. They were having choking issues. They were having, like, you know, performance issues. Like, for example, against Gam, they would always have that mental block where they would look really well in the game, but when it comes to like clutch moments, like taking an objective, you know, securing Otacon Baron, a lot of times they would throw and it would look really disgusting. I'm hoping that because they beat PSG in playoffs and they have beaten GAM in playoffs, they are looking better. They are looking more improved. Like Taki, the support is really strong. I mean, the biggest fact that their mid jungle, Histo and Dyer, look really solid. Like Histo's Kiana is really good. Like Dyer's Orianna has improved a lot. These are things that I think will help them gain an edge over other teams. Maybe they'll have that pop-out factor, but I'm also considering the fact that I'm a little bit scared. It is their first international competition for a lot of these players. It is scary to see them play these matches. The weakest link I will say is top lane. They have 2 top laners in Hero and Pun. They are both kind of mediocre. I think maybe Hero is playing better right now. Like they sub in Pun every once in a while, but it doesn't look that good. I'm a little bit worried about this, but after that we're gonna go with let's see. Oh, MKOI. Okay. I do think MKOI is pretty solid. I am ranking them lower because I just think the other teams are better. Like, you know, the FlyQuest or G2 will probably be better than them. I don't know if they'll beat an Eastern team. That's why I have them this low. I'm pretty like pessimistic on them right now. I do like their AD carry Supa. I think he pops off and does well. Like Alvaro, Merwin. They have a really solid team, but when push comes to shove, when they have to have that like, you know, overall macro factor, I feel like they kind of lack in certain areas compared to other teams like Jojo, Elyoya. Elyoya is a really good jungler, but I just feel like when they play the game overall as a team, I don't think their macro level is as high as some of the other teams I'm about to list in this game. They have individually good players, and we'll hopefully their boot camping in Korea or China or whatever for Worlds will help them get some more coordination going, especially on this new patch. But for now, I'm going to rank them a little bit lower and be a little bit safe. I'm a little bit pessimistic about them. I will throw an IG here, even though technically IG will probably be last place in the tournament because of the format. It shouldn't be. They should be somewhere here. I think they'll probably be better than, like, you know, a lot of the Western teams, but I think they're probably the worst Eastern team. Like, watching the Shy and Rookie play during regular season, they look really strong. Rookie not so much, but especially the Shy, I think he leveled up a lot. But during the playoff run and the Gauntlet run, it did feel like more of their AD carry was the main carry of the team. Like Gala was doing really well, so it felt more like a one-man show. It's kind of funny when you watch IG versus JDG. It kind of felt like AD carry versus AD carry. Both of them need a better team. I think they're both really good, but god damn it, some of those matches were rough. I'm gonna put FlyQuest up here. I do think FlyQuest is the strongest NA team. They kind of got challenged by Cloud9, but then Cloud9 choked and fell off really hard, and they're kind of, well, less we talk about them, the better. Yeah, FlyQuest is really strong. I do think their mid lane, their quad is not that great. They have issues there. Bwipo can be really strong with certain picks. I mean, the best players are probably Inspired, Masu, and Busio. Their bot lane is really solid. Inspired is probably the best Western jungler in the world. And yeah, that's it. I mean, like, their competition level is really low compared to the other teams. They didn't really struggle with anyone. So it's really hard for me to rank them higher. Because, yeah, they do look fantastic. But when you watch them at, like, for example, MSI this year, yeah, they beat G2, but G2 was a much weaker team. That G2 was really bad. They couldn't beat a struggling BLG. It went to 5 games, yeah. But if you're gonna do MMA math, I feel like you can do MMA math with these other teams a lot better. I think that maybe they can beat. I don't think they'll beat an Eastern team. That's my crazy prediction for Worlds 2025. And then we'll have KT down here as well. KT beating GenG was a miracle. Like, that was that was like some fairy tale kind of story. You know, BD cuz popping off, they're doing really well. It's great that they're here, but I feel like watching them play against GenG again and HLE, like the matches weren't good. It felt like very fraudulent. It felt like they shouldn't even have made it that far. So I'm just gonna have to put them in C tier and say, you know, they're probably not gonna make it to playoffs. I think, you know, basically what I'm thinking is like, okay, well, you know, KT can beat like IG or FlyQuest or some of these bottom teams underneath them, but they'll never beat anyone above them. And that's how I'm gonna do the rankings for these kinds of teams. Now we're gonna get to B team, B tier. B tier is pretty good. These will be our top 8 teams. I think AL at MSI looked fantastic. I even think in Split 1 they looked pretty good too. But for some reason in Split 3 they just struggled and struggled and couldn't find their marking. They couldn't find their place. They had really bad drafting. Their BP wasn't good. They just had players underperforming. It was a mess. I'm not sure what happened, but they kind of cleaned up towards the end. But even then, they didn't reach the finals. TES looked a lot better. BLG looked a lot better. Like they even lost Weibo at the start of the playoffs. They had to make the gauntlet run back. That was kind of crazy. I mean, they're here because of overall points and overall performance. So that's why they got the 2nd seed. But I think they're more of a 3rd seeder kind of team. I'm gonna put my faith in G2. I don't know why. I mean, Skewmon has looked so much better towards the end of the split. Like Split 3, Skewmon looks nothing like Split 2. Caps is good. BB is good. BB's inconsistent, but I think overall he has leveled up and he has looked a lot more solid in Split 3. I mean, there's nothing to say about Hansam and Labrov. There's I feel like Labrov is probably the weaker link in those two, but overall they have a really solid team. I think this is the team that will finally make it to top 8 after all those years of EU struggling and getting unlucky draws. But whatever. I think this is it. The big debate is who's going to make top 8. Is it FlyQuest, G2, or CFO? I think FlyQuest will be the odd man out. We're only going to have 7 Asian teams or Eastern teams, excluding LCP. So I think that we'll have 2 non-LCK LPL teams in top 8, just because of the way Swiss works. I think that's probably what's going to happen. Next up, I have TES. TES, I mean, nobody has faith in this team just because of international performances. I mean, I don't know if you remember first stand, they looked horrible. They looked like one of the worst teams, just barely above Team Liquid, essentially. This is going to be interesting. I mean, they're not going to have to fly out. They're going to get to stay at home, be Bing chilling. They'll be having a good time. I do think Jackie Love is pretty good. Hanavi, yeah, they have good players, but man, it's rough, man. It's rough. It's like it's because of their domestic split being so good. It's so hard to rank them low. It's just like outside, superstitious factors that I have TS this low. I feel like if you were to go off domestic performances, they'll probably be like A tier. But because of outside and bias, I'm just gonna put them down to B tier. Because fuck it, why not? Yeah, even though T1 are the 4th seed from LCK, they lost to a really strong GenG. They're the only team that put up a really good fight against GenG in the playoffs, except for KT, that one upset, right? But I think T1 has looked the best they have in the last 3 years coming into Worlds, which is really weird because they got their lowest placement. So I'm not sure what to say about that. I do think Dorn is very solid. I mean, Owner is one of the best junglers in the world. So is Keria, one of the best supports. I think Gumayushi could be better if they utilize him a bit more. It is kind of weird that they have Dorn and Gumayushi, but they're trying to put Dorn on more carries than Gumayushi, giving him that agency. I do think if they kind of figure themselves out throughout the tournament, they'll be more consistent. And I mean, the T1 coaching staff players, they kind of know what to go through during Worlds. It's not a very regular tournament. It's very long, a lot of media days, not so many days to practice and scrim on. So I think T1 will find a way to make it into top 4. And I'm going to throw my team, CFO, up there. You know what? Maybe it's Copium, maybe it's Hopium. I don't give a fuck, dude. I think CFO has looked so good this year. I think the 6-man roster, even though there's going to be VO1s at the start, it won't really help us. So maybe we'll struggle in the early parts of Worlds. But I think the 6-man roster, the fact that Jinja is really good and people kind of underrate him. Hankyu, being this up-and-coming rookie, mechanically really good. He has a really strong jungle to help guide him through the laning phase throughout the tournament. The macro. I think Doggo's been popping off like crazy. Kaiwing is very solid on his tank supports. He's picked up a bunch more. His Bard has been looking really good. His Nico is looking really good. So it's not just that he does have a smaller champion pool compared to other supports. I do feel like if you give him engaged supports, he will just carry. And I feel like other supports will not be able to have as an impact as he does. The fact that we have 2 top laners, I think is really good. I mean, Driver Rest, they have completely different play styles. They have different like champion pools. Effectively, we have like 20 different champions that can play in top lane, and enemy top lane will run out of their good champions way before CFO does. So I think that'll be fun. Driver's more of the tankier player. Rest is more of the carry. So if you study the CFO matches, the LCP, this is something you would expect. Basically, it just depends on draft which top laner starts. BO1 will be tricky. You can't use a 6-man lineup in a BO1 yearless draft. So that'll be a little bit interesting. Then I'm going to put BLG. I do think LPL has looked a lot worse this year. We've been watching ASI, Asia Invitationals, Asia Masters. Seems like Korea is back on top. Basically in all 3 categories. Tier 1, Tier 2, and then Tier 1 mid-tier play teams. This is like, even though I think BLG is really good, they just still have the jungle thing. I don't know if they're utilizing it as like a 6-man. The way they do it does seem kind of random. Or it feels like if they lose a game, they just throw in the other jungler, which is kind of weird. So Shadow Beige1, I do think Shadow is the better jungler. He should be starting. I think he just overall does what Beige1 does, but better. But hey, I mean, Knight is really good, as always. I think BLG could surprise us. They are the best LPL team. They have improved a lot throughout the year. Don't pay attention to MSI BLG. They're nothing like that. They're way better, way better right now. And as to no surprise, I mean, whatever. We're going to have GenG versus HLE in the grand finals. Yeah, this is the year. This is the year. I think HLE has looked shaky. They weren't good throughout most of the split, especially in split, from end of split 2 to the start of split 3. There's something that happened. Split 3, they kept losing to GenG, T1. They just looked kind of shaky. But then when playoffs came around, they just quickly handled T1 3-0. It didn't look close. There's something that happened in HLE, and I think they have the players to be this strong, be this competitive. It's going to be a fun games. GenG, obviously, super strong team. Keen, Canyon, Chovy. Canyon hasn't looked as strong. I think in the grand finals, Peanut looked a lot better than Canyon. I feel like that's what most people think. But it just didn't matter. The coordination was just way better. Chovy's a fucking beast. Ruler with his clutch factor. And Duro's been a huge surprise. He looks really good. I'm really impressed with how good Duro is. So, yeah. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about these 17 teams. Basically, if you're in B tier, you can probably beat the other teams in B tier. And then you'll probably can beat all the teams beneath. Probably not the teams above. There might be a few upsets here and there. But I think this will be the overall level coming into Worlds. I mean, not off season, but boot camping, scrim time, media, strength of schedule. There's a lot of times where a Western team doesn't have to play any Eastern teams and they can make it to playoffs. So depending on the Swiss format, things can change, but I think this is what we should overall expect coming into Worlds. And yeah, if you haven't watched the LCP, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty fun. Small international competition basically every day. I think it's one of the funnest leagues to watch, and definitely not biased opinion. Anyways, that's it. This is my team, so hopefully I get them right and they don't look stupid. Considering myself, I am the biggest League of Legends expert in the world. I feel like if I don't get this right, people are going to flame me. But as the biggest League of Legends expert in the world, it's not that I got my predictions wrong, it's that the teams didn't play to the level they should. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching.